Thank you very much, and thank you all for joining and staying around for the presentations this afternoon. It's great to see so many old friends, to be making so many new friends, and to talk about what we think is one of the most exciting trends in the shipping industry today. Let me talk a little bit about what this presentation is about, carbon credits. Carbon credits are the currency of the carbon market. That currency is going to become so important to you as we move forward through the if someone's going to turn the mic on, I trust. Yeah. That currency is going to become incredibly important to all of us during the carbon transition. It sets the price at which people will spend money on you to buy the credits, the carbon emissions reductions that you have generated. If we take a look a little bit about how this market works, first of all, I want to say that the carbon markets are not for the average ship owner. They're for the best in class, for the owner who can demonstrate that they're going beyond industry average performance. So I'm talking, and that's of course the reason why I'm at Marine Money Athens, to talk to the best of the best. This is the market that you will be able to tap preferentially relative to others who are not performing in best of class. This is a market that shipping has successfully tapped in the past. In fact, we saw a really exciting effort by International Paints, AkzoNobel, started almost 10 years ago, and successfully issued carbon credits on the basis of emissions reductions in shipping. And those carbon credits, when they were sold at a premium to the market at that time. So the path has been trod. But there were no follow-ups to International Paint. There have been no carbon credits issued since the last almost 6 or 8 years ago. And why is that? Because the standards of the carbon market are extremely high. You have to satisfy a set of what are for most shipping people unfamiliar requirements in order to gain access to those markets. Now that's a problem that we, for the past 4 years, have been working with to help solve. And one of the most exciting developments from our perspective just over the last several months is our partnership with ClimeCo. ClimeCo is an extraordinarily powerful performer in the carbon markets and is really completing the bridge that we're going to talk more about here as we go from shipping towards successfully monetizing carbon credits. Now, at the end of the day, I'm going to show you that this is not surprisingly, great deal for ship owners. But we'll give you a specific case study to look at how carbon credits have been used to fund retrofits. Sorry? So first of all, let me talk about how we address the standards of the carbon market. Again, the carbon markets, the last thing anyone in those markets wants to be associated with is things like greenwashing. Charges that they weren't appropriately generated and documented carbon credits. The carbon markets start from registries like the gold standard that is referred to down here that are the standard setters. They're the credit rating agencies of the carbon markets. They ensure that the appropriate standards have been met. And those standards are specific to every project that are taken forward. Now, when we learned about this, we realized we had to go back to school. And that MIT connection that Matt referred to was extraordinarily powerful for us because we went back and attempted to automate some of the processes that had become challenges and proven to be roadblocks in the first issuance from carbon credits. So we went back and worked with the MIT Sea Grant Design Lab and built a model that would help us take the first step down the path towards carbon credits. That model has been extraordinarily successful, and I'd be very happy to show you how for each one of your ships we have a highly accurate forecast of the main engine fuel consumption under a variety of conditions, under operating conditions. We are able to characterize the improved performance as a result of a retrofit independently of how it's operated by a charter. So we don't suffer some of those defects that CII and EEXI have introduced. But most importantly, from our perspective, that model became the science basis for approaching the gold standard and working with them to write a methodology that they could accept to take advantage of the capabilities that we got with the model in order to deliver carbon credits. Now, to illustrate These are some of the bread and butter of the retrofit business nowadays, and what the industry is successfully monetizing now. Modifying the bow, fine-tuning the prop, engine tuning, wake flow, energy-saving devices, most popular now, coatings, and throw them all together. And the range of, so these alternatives can deliver not quite additive, but they can accumulate in a nonlinear fashion. And we've seen savings from these alternatives of between 5 and 12% in the typical installations that we've got. That's reduction in main energy fuel consumption across the range of operating speeds. Each one of them can be modeled, and we're looking at more and more of them as we look at wind assist, air lubrication, and other new opportunities that are emerging to reduce CO2 emissions. Now, let me walk you down, take you through the map to get you from retrofitting a ship to getting some cash out of the carbon credits that you generate. I'm going to start here with a verification process. This is where our green screen model takes the first steps. It helps you verify that what you're starting out to do is going to generate significant emissions reductions, and it simplifies the process of gathering the necessary operating information to demonstrate that you have reduced CO2 emissions in actuality, in actually operating the vessel over time. So we take those first steps to verification, to gathering the data necessary to satisfy the gold standard that will then issue the carbon credits. And at that point, we hand the problem over to Erika and her team to make sure that the rest of the journey is successful.
Great, thanks, Arlie. So, can you all hear me? Is my mic on? Oh, great. So yeah, as Arlie said, once they've gathered the initial data, and we basically package up the information, all the vessels that are registered, the owners, the retrofit types, the modeled efficiencies, and we write up a very detailed project description for gold standard, and we go through a third-party verification to prove that we're meeting all the qualifying activities and requirements, and then we go through a process that will show all the details of how we actually do that. And then we issue the credits, right? So once those credits are issued by Gold Standard, our transactions team, so ClimeCo has a team that's been in the market for almost 15 years, actively trading in the carbon space. And our company has generated over 25 million tons of emission reductions from the projects that we've developed. So we're very good at working with the registries, creating the offsets, quantifying them, and then monetizing the offsets. So what we do to make this project simple for the registries and for the ship owners is we manage the project management, and then we monetize the credits on behalf of all the members of the program. And then we just provide revenue from those carbon activities, from those advanced retrofits. So we were trying to make it as simple as possible for the owners. We know you have a lot of other things on your mind, and carbon credits are not your core business, but they are our core business. So a little bit about why we're aggregating all of these activities. So we're talking with multiple ship owners this week. We've been talking to ship owners around the world, including in the US, to help them understand that if we aggregate these carbon offsets activities into one large program, it reduces the costs per ship owner and per vessel. We are able to leverage those economies of scale to really create additional value. That also enables us to brand these credits and capture value from customers, because a lot of large corporates don't want to buy a bunch of small credits. They want to buy aggregated volumes. And ClimeCo has, every year we sell about 20 million tons of credits through our just active carbon trading. So we have a large book of customers that trust us. We build portfolios for them, a mix of nature-based solutions and these hard-to-abate and industrial project types. And that enables us to, build credibility with our customers and get the most value for the offsets that are generated from this program. And in case you wanted to understand a little bit about what you actually have to do to be part of this program and what the process is, we kind of showed how it's an annual process. We gather the data in the first quarter, just as kind of aligned with the IMO reporting standards, and then we prepare the data, have it verified, and credits are issued, and then your funds are distributed before the end of the year. So what we think here is, we're trying to make this simple. We have to manage all this process, but there is some annual data that's required from the ship owners, and Marsoft has tried to make that as minimal and as less invasive as possible. So it's some noon reports, but and basically what we tried to do here is reduce the barriers to entry. As when we gather a bunch of ship owners together, we're able to make the cost lower and manage a large volume of data. So Arlie, did you want to talk about, let's see, the next one is your case.
So this is a case study of a typical project that we've now have underway. And by the way, I'll give a shout out to John Malopoulos, my colleague here. If you have any questions about the numbers, please speak to him, and he'll build your own case study for the program. The costs of the program start with a one-time upfront cost associated with the green screen analysis of the unique vessels in your fleet. We don't charge you twice for the sister ships. You just take a look at the unique vessels. And in this specific example, we're looking at savings of each of the ship per day of about 9.3 tons. That's about 9.3 tons of CO2. That's about 3 tons of bunker fuel. The average value of that 3 tons per day times 15 ships of bunker fuel in the markets, as we've discussed with ClimeCo and the buyer potential that they are in the process of verifying, is in excess of $200,000 per year on average. That's a 1-year payback on the investment. Now, as Erika mentioned, there's a 1-year lag as after the issuance of the credits to the collection after the generation of the credits to the cashing in on them. But 1-year payback. And the break-even, because of the low cost that we're able to generate through the Green Screen program and working with ClimeCo, who are able to aggregate and deliver premium value, is just over $1 per ton. Now, we're working with clients to set these programs up to enroll their ships in November. And by enrolling in November, you take a look back at the ships that you've retrofitted in 2021, maybe mid-2021, 2022, so you can take advantage of the emissions reductions that you're already generating. The green screen allows a limited clawback of the carbon credits that you have generated in the past. So, here's the monetization pathway. This is one of many ways to realize the value of carbon credits for shipping. There are many, many different paths, and Erika and I can talk to you, and John can talk to you at length about all the different opportunities. But let me introduce the problem now. You've reduced your CO2 emissions. You've done a fantastic, innovative thing to help fund those emissions reductions. And now, how do you explain it to your stakeholders? And Erika, this is over to you.
We get a lot of questions around how do we report on these offsets? What does it mean for our sustainability reporting? How do we talk about the environmental attributes? So what we did is we pulled 2 publicly traded companies that are doing offset programs today, and we're sharing, here's how they're kind of talking about them. And actually we provide a lot of consulting. Ascend is one of our clients, and we help customers with how would we talk about the emissions reductions, because the requirements of the IMO and in the US, the EPA, are for you to report your actual emissions, right? And your actual emissions will be reduced because you made these advanced retrofits. But if you're selling the offsets, you're selling that environmental attribute, some of that emissions reduction. So what we recommend to all of our customers is to be as transparent as possible. So if you should be talking about the activities that you did, your advanced retrofits, but you should also be clear, here are the volume of offsets that we sold, and that helps. Often a lot of customers will say, we use those offset revenues to further invest in our business and further help decarbonize. And I know there have been a lot of comments in panels earlier today around, sure, we could get potentially a lower bond rate, but really who's going to pay the cost of these investments that we need to make to decarbonize shipping? And this is one way, one activity that you could be doing today or in the next 5 years to help decarbonize and make that first step, demonstrate that you're willing to invest in these programs. And the whole concept of the voluntary market is to incentivize activities that will expedite lower carbon activities, investments, business, helping you make the business case to move towards lower carbon and do it faster, right? So these are activities that you're doing that are above and beyond what's required today, but you're looking at what is the future of my business and how do I advance that path to decarbonization? And the voluntary offset space is one way to take that first step.
Erika, thank you very much. We have a tremendous panel coming up after us, so I don't want to take any of their time. So we're available to ask questions afterwards and happy to do so. But thank you all very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Erika, Arlie, thank you guys very much. You know, people say that